If you think the truth can stay hidden forever, think again. Subscribe, like, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because tonight's story will make you question what you thought you knew about safety, trust, and the people living right next door. It began on a quiet suburban evening in the small town of Marlow Creek, Ohio. The kind of place where people left their doors unlocked and everyone knew each other's kids by name. But that illusion of safety shattered on a rainy Thursday when 7-year-old Emily Carter didn't come home from school. Her mother, Laura, was the first to notice. The clock read 3:52 p.m. Emily's bus usually dropped her off by 3:40. 10 minutes late wasn't unusual. 15 wasn't alarming. But by 4:10, the sky had gone from gray to bruised purple, and panic had begun to settle in Laura's chest like ice. She called the school, then the bus driver. Both said the same thing. Emily had gotten off at her usual stop, less than 3 blocks away. Police were called within the hour. By dusk, officers were canvassing the area, questioning neighbors, retracing Emily's last known steps. The small yellow raincoat she'd worn that day, the one with tiny duck prints, was now the subject of every flyer that went up. Detective Alan Briggs, a 15-year veteran of the Marlow Creek Police Department, led the search. He'd seen missing person cases before, but something about this one felt off. Too clean. No witnesses. No sound. No sign of struggle. Kids don't just vanish into thin air. By the next morning, the story had gone national. Social media was flooded with hashtags. Hashtag Find Emily Carter trending across platforms. News vans crowded the once quiet streets. Neighbors who'd once waved from their lawns now peered through blinds, whispering theories about who could have done it. Briggs spent hours going over what little they had: a school bus drop-off, a short walk home, a missing girl. Then, late that afternoon, an officer brought in a USB drive. "Sir," he said quietly, "you need to see this." It was footage pulled from a convenience store's security camera, positioned across the street from Emily's bus stop. The grainy black and white video showed the bus door opening. A cluster of kids stepped off, Emily among them. She adjusted her backpack straps and began walking in the direction of her street. Then, for just a second, a shadow appeared at the edge of the frame, a dark sedan idling by the curb. The driver's face was obscured, but the brake lights flared as Emily passed. The car rolled forward slowly, matching her pace, before disappearing from view. That was the last confirmed sighting of Emily Carter alive. Briggs requested every available traffic and doorbell camera from the surrounding area. For 48 hours, officers pored over hours of footage, until they found it. A doorbell cam, 2 blocks from where Emily vanished, captured a clearer angle of the same sedan. It was a dark blue Honda Civic, late 2000s model, with a dent on the rear bumper. When police cross-referenced vehicle registrations, one name popped up: Daniel Moore, a 42-year-old local electrician who lived less than a mile away. No prior arrests. Married. 2 kids. A man who'd even volunteered in local neighborhood watches. Briggs didn't want to jump to conclusions, but when they went to Daniel's house, something didn't feel right. The man who opened the door was calm. Too calm. His hands didn't shake. His voice didn't waver. "Of course I've heard about Emily," he said. "My wife's been following it online. Tragic. Poor girl." Briggs noticed a stack of cardboard boxes near the hallway. Moving boxes. "You planning to leave town?" he asked casually. Daniel smiled thinly. "Just work equipment. Cleaning out the garage." The detective's instincts prickled. "Mind if we take a quick look at your vehicle?" Daniel hesitated. Just long enough. "Sure," he finally said, leading them to the driveway. The Honda Civic sat there, the same shade of dark blue. And right there, beneath the left taillight, a small dent. Exactly where it appeared in the CCTV footage. The car was clean, spotless, in fact. Too spotless for someone who claimed to do electrical work out of his trunk. No tools. No wires. Just an overly detailed polish job that screamed overcompensation. They towed the vehicle for forensic analysis. By evening, lab results came back. Faint traces of mud on the floor matched the soil found near the wooded area behind the elementary school. Still, there was no body. No direct proof. Just suspicion and a mother's worst nightmare. 3 days passed before the next break came. A teenager scrolling TikTok uploaded a short clip taken the night Emily disappeared. It was a shaky, 15-second video of the storm, flashes of lightning illuminating the street. But in the background, barely visible, a figure could be seen carrying what looked like a small child wrapped in a raincoat. The caption read, "Didn't realize this till now. Look behind the lamppost." The video spread like wildfire. Police identified the location within hours. The footage aligned perfectly with the route between Emily's bus stop and Daniel Moore's neighborhood. Detective Briggs drove back to Moore's house the next morning, warrant in hand. The front yard was empty, the blinds drawn. When he knocked, no one answered. Then he saw a single security camera above the garage door, blinking red. Moore had a CCTV system of his own. Briggs' partner, Officer Riley, forced the side door. Inside, the house smelled faintly of bleach. Family photos lined the walls, Daniel with his wife and 2 smiling children. But the deeper they went, the stranger it got. Down in the basement, they found something, a locked door with heavy bolts, clearly reinforced. Briggs' pulse quickened as he leaned closer. A faint hum came from behind it, like an electrical buzz. "Get it open," he said quietly. The lock snapped. The door swung inward. And in the dim light of the basement, surrounded by blinking monitors showing live camera feeds from around the neighborhood, sat a row of hard drives, labeled by date and street name. The most recent one read, Emily_0926. Briggs felt the air leave his chest. Whatever was on that drive wasn't just evidence. It was the truth they'd been dreading. If you thought Chapter 1 was dark, just wait till you see what was really caught on those tapes. Hit that subscribe button, because the truth hiding in the shadows is about to get ugly. Detective Briggs stared at the hard drive on the evidence table as if it might bite. The label, Emily_0926, was handwritten in blue ink, neat and deliberate. Around it, 6 other drives were marked with dates stretching back months. Every one of them potentially containing footage of someone's private life, recorded without their knowledge. The tech unit worked in silence, the hum of servers filling the room. When the first file loaded, the grainy image of a rainy street appeared on screen. Camera angles shifted between 4 feeds, all from different houses, all trained on sidewalks, doorways, and bus stops. Briggs' stomach turned as the timestamp aligned with the day Emily vanished. The footage followed her every step. From the moment she got off the bus, the cameras switched like a coordinated surveillance grid. Emily walking past a hedge, turning down Maple Street, adjusting her backpack strap. Then the dark Honda appeared. The car slowed, stopping half a block behind her. On one feed, a man, Daniel Moore, stepped out, carrying an umbrella. He called out to her, though the footage had no sound. She paused, hesitating, before taking a step back. Then the man knelt, said something again, and held out his hand. She inched closer. Briggs slammed his fist against the table. He was recording her. He had her under surveillance before that day. But the real shock came next. Another file, labeled test_0823, showed a different child, a boy, maybe 9, walking home on the same street. The boy reached his gate unharmed. But Daniel's car was there too, idling in the corner of the frame. It wasn't a one-time obsession. It was a pattern. Moore had been studying his neighborhood for months, logging, recording, planning. He'd set up hidden cameras in gutters, old mailboxes, even a bird feeder facing the playground. The investigation turned into a full-blown manhunt overnight. The FBI joined in, classifying it as a federal case under child exploitation and kidnapping. But Daniel Moore was gone. His phone was left behind in a desk drawer. His family, wife, and 2 kids had vanished too. Briggs drove back to the Moore residence at dawn. The street was lined with flashing lights, news reporters, and neighbors wrapped in disbelief. "He mowed my lawn last week," one man said numbly. "You'd never think." Inside the house, every surface gleamed from chemical cleaners. Forensics found traces of ammonia, bleach, and plastic residue in the basement. But something in the corner of the room caught Briggs' eye, a tiny red mitten, half-burned, wedged behind a metal shelf. The tech unit confirmed the fiber matched the ones in Emily's raincoat. Briggs hadn't slept in 36 hours. Every lead went cold within hours of surfacing. The car hadn't pinged a toll booth. No credit cards had been used. No cell tower hits in the state. It was as if Daniel Moore had been swallowed by the earth. Then, at 3 a.m., a ping finally came through. A traffic cam in Indiana picked up the blue Honda speeding past a toll plaza, license plate partially obscured with tape. Briggs was on the road in minutes. A multi-state alert went out. Patrol units tracked the car to an abandoned storage facility just off Route 68. By the time they arrived, the vehicle sat idling, headlights still on. The driver's seat was empty. The door hung open, keys in the ignition. Briggs' flashlight cut through the dark corridor of the storage units, dust dancing in the beam. One door near the back was slightly ajar. He approached slowly, his heart pounding against his ribs. Inside were more boxes stacked floor to ceiling. Each was marked the same way as the hard drives, names, dates, streets. And then, at the center of the room, stood something that froze him in place, a large corkboard covered in photos. A map of Marlow Creek. Red strings connecting locations. Each string led to a house, a child, a timestamp. Emily's name was circled in red ink. Beneath it, written in a shaky hand, "Prototype complete." "Jesus Christ," whispered Riley from behind him. He was planning more. Briggs' phone buzzed, a call from HQ. The analyst's voice on the line was trembling. "Detective, we found something on one of the drives. It's not just surveillance." "What do you mean?" "There's live feed data. It's still transmitting." "Sir, it's coming from a new IP, outside of Ohio." Briggs' pulse spiked. "Where?" "Chicago." They pulled the feed onto the laptop. The image was dark and static-filled, but through the flicker, Briggs saw what looked like a motel room. A flickering fluorescent light. A bed. A figure sitting in the corner, head down, motionless. Then the image sharpened. It was Emily. Pale, silent, staring straight at the camera. For a second, she blinked, as if recognizing she was being watched, then mouthed something impossible to hear. The video glitched, cutting to black. The room erupted into motion. Orders flew across the airwaves. Units in Chicago were dispatched instantly. But as the trace continued, a second feed appeared on screen. Another child, different room, same setup. Briggs realized the horrifying truth. Daniel Moore hadn't acted alone. Someone else was running the network. Within hours, the Chicago police raided the motel address from the GPS trace. But the room was empty. The bed was still warm, a half-eaten meal on the table. Whoever had been there had left minutes earlier. Briggs stood in the middle of the command center, staring at the frozen last frame of Emily's face on the monitor. He'd never forget the way she looked directly into the lens, as if trying to warn him. His partner leaned in. "Sir, there's something on the wall behind her. Zoom in." The tech team enhanced the image. In the background, scrawled across the peeling wallpaper, were 4 words written in red marker. "You're looking too late." The room fell silent. For the first time, Briggs understood this wasn't a kidnapping anymore. It was a system, a hunt that had been running long before Emily Carter ever disappeared. And now, whoever was behind it knew they were being watched. If you've made it this far, you're in deep. But don't look away now, because the final truth is darker than anything you've heard. Like, subscribe, and remember, even the smartest criminals forget one thing. The truth doesn't stay buried forever. The storm returned the night Detective Lena Hart realized everything she thought she knew was a lie. Sheets of rain smeared the city lights into ghostly streaks across her windshield as she raced down Interstate 90, the wipers thrashing to keep up. Ray Donovan's DNA on the syringe had detonated the entire investigation. The man who'd claimed innocence, the man supposedly framed by his wife, wasn't just connected. He'd held the syringe that killed his best friend. But something still didn't make sense. If Ray and Anna had worked together, why vanish separately? Why leave trails leading to each other? The answer came as she replayed the motel footage for the 100th time. Reeves and Anna walking side by side, but when Anna turned, her face was shadowed. Still, her posture, rigid, cautious, wasn't the same woman from the camera footage in Ethan's office. Lena zoomed in. A glint on her wrist, a watch. Not the gold Cartier Anna always wore. This one was silver, masculine. She froze the frame, adjusted contrast, enhanced the lighting. The face under the hood wasn't Anna. It was Ray Donovan. He hadn't been framed. He'd been running. Lena's mind raced backward through every clue, the offshore accounts, the false confession, the DNA. The entire narrative snapped into focus like a lens finally locking in place. Ethan had discovered that Ray and Anna were having an affair. When he threatened to expose them, Ray panicked. But Anna? She wasn't in on the murder. She was the second victim in waiting. Ray had killed Ethan and then made it look like a triangle of betrayal. He forged Ethan's recording, planted the USB drives, and tampered with the scene. But Anna found out, maybe the day after Ethan's death, and tried to run. That's why her car was found abandoned. That's why her closet was empty. Ray had gotten to her first. Lena called Luis. Put a trace on all of Ray Donovan's accounts. Cayman, Zurich, whatever comes up. He's not fleeing alone. He's moving the money. 30 minutes later, Luis called back. We got something. He wired $500,000 to a small charter company in Michigan. Flight scheduled tonight. Private jet, 11:15 p.m. Destination, Toronto. Lena's heart pounded. Get the marshals. I'll meet you there. The small regional airfield was swallowed in fog and rain, the kind of night where sound carried but sight failed. A single hangar glowed in the distance, light spilling across wet tarmac. Inside, a white Gulfstream sat ready, engines humming low. Lena crouched behind a fuel truck, radio whispering updates in her ear. Suspect confirmed on site. Alone. Approaching aircraft. She watched Ray Donovan step into view. Dark coat, calm, purposeful. His hair slicked back by the rain, his face expressionless. He carried a single duffel bag, heavy, deliberate. She waited until he reached the stairs before shouting, "Police! Step away from the plane." Ray froze, then turned slow as a predator. His expression didn't flicker. Detective Hart. I was wondering when you'd show up. Drop the bag. He smiled faintly, almost pitying. You've been thorough. I'll give you that. But you still don't understand. Try me. Ray set the duffel down, zipped it open. Bundles of cash, millions. Beneath them, a small black pistol. I didn't kill Ethan for the money, he said quietly. I killed him because he wouldn't stop. Stop what? Lena demanded. Destroying everything. Ray stepped forward, rain slicking across his face. Ethan wasn't the man you think he was. He was laundering money for Reeves long before I knew. When I found out, I tried to pull Anna out. But Ethan, he threatened her. He was obsessed. He said if she left me, he'd ruin us both. You saw those photos, right? The ones that looked like an affair? They were leverage. He was blackmailing her. Lena hesitated. You expect me to believe you killed your best friend to protect your wife? Ray's voice cracked, just enough to sound human. I killed him to save her. But Reeves, he found out, twisted it, turned her against me. You think she ran away? No. He took her. He has her. Lena's instincts screamed manipulation. But the fear in his eyes, real or not, gave her pause. Then where is she now? Ray didn't answer. His gaze shifted, just over Lena's shoulder. The look told her before the sound did. A soft click, metal against metal. She spun around just as a voice said, right here. Anna Donovan stepped from the shadows of the hangar, soaked to the bone, eyes hollow. In her hand, a gun. Put it down, Anna, Lena ordered, aiming her own weapon. Anna's hand shook. Her voice was cold, broken. You think you know what happened? You don't know anything. She looked at Ray. You killed him. You said it was for us. But it was never for us. Ray's face tightened. He was going to ruin you. He loved me, she said, her voice cracking. You couldn't stand that. The air vibrated with tension, 3 hearts beating, 3 guns drawn. Lena's mind raced. One wrong move, and this hangar would become a bloodbath. Then Anna's expression changed, from rage to something else. A small, bitter smile. But you made one mistake, Ray. Ray's brow furrowed. Anna reached into her pocket, pulled out a flash drive, and held it up. You always thought you were smarter. But Ethan recorded everything. The meetings, the transfers, the night you killed him. He left it all for me. Ray lunged forward. A shot cracked through the hangar. Then another. Silence. Lena blinked through the smoke. Ray lay sprawled on the ground, blood blooming across his chest. Anna stood over him, shaking, the gun slipping from her hands. She looked at Lena, tears streaming down her face. I didn't want this. Any of it. Lena lowered her weapon slowly. It's over, Anna. Anna's voice was a whisper. No, it's not. She stepped backward, eyes glassy. He wasn't working alone. Before Lena could ask, headlights flared at the far end of the hangar. A black SUV screeched to a halt. The driver's door opened, and out stepped Dr. Michael Reeves, calm, dry, as if the storm itself bowed to him. He raised a pistol. Lena dove behind a crate as bullets ricocheted through metal. Anna screamed. More shots. Then silence again, thick, suffocating. When Lena looked up, Reeves was gone. So was the flash drive. Anna was on the floor, clutching her shoulder, alive but bleeding. Lena radioed for backup, sirens already howling in the distance. But Reeves had vanished into the rain, leaving behind the chaos he'd orchestrated. Hours later, the hangar was swarming with officers. Ray Donovan was pronounced dead at the scene. Anna was taken into custody, weeping, trembling, broken. But the flash drive, the one that could prove everything, was gone. 3 weeks later, Lena filed her final report. Officially, the case was closed. Ray Donovan, primary suspect, killed resisting arrest. Ethan Cross, homicide victim. Anna Donovan, accessory. Unofficially, she knew better. She sat alone in her car outside the station, rain tapping against the glass. The radio murmured news about a private plane that had crashed off the coast of Nova Scotia. No survivors. Passenger list unconfirmed. But one name stood out. Michael Reeves. Lena stared into the darkness, her reflection faint in the glass. The perfect crime hadn't been one murder. It had been a symphony of deceit. A plan so layered it consumed everyone who played a part. And yet, as she turned the camera's recovered SD card in her fingers, she noticed something small etched into the metal. 2 words, scratched faintly, almost invisible. Keep watching. Lena looked up, heart pounding. Outside, across the street, a black SUV idled, headlights burning through the rain. Then it slowly pulled away and disappeared into the night. They thought the killer was gone. But some crimes never end. They just evolve. If you think this story was wild, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe and don't look away.